The Minecraft Copper update is giving us incredible new copper features, including the new copper torch. So in this video, I will show you some of the new things added in this drop. Minecraft has added a brand new torch in the copper update, which, you guessed it, is the copper torch. So the copper torch is a green variant of the torch, and it's crafted with 1 copper nugget, 1 coal and 1 stick. The functionality of the copper torch is identical to regular torches, but I have to say, a green torch variant looks amazing. Not only did we get a copper torch in the copper update, we also received the copper lantern. Now the copper lantern is crafted similar to regular lanterns, but uses 8 copper nuggets and 1 copper torch. Now since the copper lantern is a copper block, it oxidizes over time and has 4 different variants. We have the regular copper lantern, the exposed copper lantern, the weathered copper lantern, and the oxidized copper lantern. Just like with every other copper block, you can use an axe on the copper lanterns to remove any oxidization stage it has. On top of this, you can use a honeycomb on the copper lantern to turn it into a waxed copper lantern, meaning it will stay in whatever oxidization stage it's currently in and won't ever change. Another copper feature we got in the copper update is the addition of copper chains. Now the copper chain looks like this and functions the same as the existing chain block, which by the way has now been renamed to the iron chain since we now have the copper chain as well. Now the copper chain is crafted with 2 copper nuggets and 1 copper ingot, and you guessed it, these copper chains can oxidize over time. This means we have the 4 copper chain variants, which is the normal, exposed, weathered and oxidized. Once again, you can get the waxed variant by using a honeycomb, and you can also remove its oxidization stage by using an axe. But yeah, the copper chains go really well in combination with the new copper lanterns when displayed. Copper bars have also been added, which look like this, and they function the same as the existing iron bars we have in the game. However, these copper bars are actually crafted with diamonds. No, I'm joking. The copper bars are also crafted by using 6 copper ingots. The copper bars have 4 copper variants once again and will oxidize over time, so be sure to have an axe and some honeycomb at the ready if you don't want them to change. Another copper item that's been added to the game is the copper horse armor, which looks like this, and I have to say it looks really cool when equipped to a horse. The copper horse armor cannot be crafted and can only be found in generated structures. Minecraft is adding brand new tools to the game, and since this update is essentially known as the copper update, you would be right to assume that these new tools are made of, well, copper. Just simply grab yourself some copper ingots and some sticks and you will be able to craft yourself a copper sword, a copper axe, a copper pickaxe, a copper shovel, and a copper hoe. Now these copper tools are described as being better than stone tools but worse than iron tools. With that said, don't let that put you off using them, and here is why. So the copper tools will deal the same amount of damage as stone tools, but they have a higher durability. These new copper tools will also work and destroy blocks faster than the stone variants, so that will definitely come in handy when you haven't come across any iron yet to make iron tools. According to the wiki, a copper pickaxe is able to mine and destroy emerald, gold and diamond related blocks, but when we try this in game, it doesn't seem to work. But since these copper tools are in very early development, this could change in the future. Another interesting thing to note about the new copper tools is that they have a better enchant rate than diamond tools, but slightly less than iron. So essentially, you can use your copper tools to get some pretty good enchantments on them instead of taking the chance of your diamond tools getting worse enchantments. And since these copper tools are going to have pretty good durability, it might be worth enchanting them. Not only did we get copper tools in the new copper update, we also got a new armor type. Now you guessed it, this type of armor is copper armor, and it looks like this. The copper armor is crafted by using copper ingots, and it uses the same recipe layout as all the other armor counterparts in the game. Now the armor itself is okay. I mean, a full set of copper armor will give the player 5 chestplate icons on the meter, whereas a full set of iron armor gives you 7.5. So yeah, iron armor is still slightly better. It's also worth noting though that a full leather armor set only gives you 3.5 chestplate icons, so yeah, at least it's better than leather armor. It's also useful to know that the copper armor has higher durability than leather armor but less than iron armor, so yeah, the copper armor truly is just okay, but still cool to have nonetheless. Now we are here to talk about the most anticipated and exciting feature of the copper update, and that is of course the addition of the copper golem and the copper chest. As some of you know, the copper golem was first announced at Minecraft Live 2021, and it was part of a mob vote between two other mobs, which were the Glare and the Allay. Now the Allay of course won the mob vote, but Mojang did say they were going to add the copper golem later on, and here we are today in 2025 and Mojang have finally delivered.
The copper golem was a fan favorite and one beloved in the development team as well, and we wanted to bring it back with a bit more of an engaging mechanic, and also because it's just a cute little thing.
So in order to get a copper golem, you simply just need a regular copper block or a waxed copper block. Then just place a carved pumpkin on top and bam, you have spawned the copper golem along with a copper chest. Now as you probably know, copper oxidizes and changes color. This means the copper golem is no exception to the rule and comes in 4 different color variants. These are the unoxidized golem, the exposed golem, the weathered golem, and the oxidized golem. This means you can use exposed, weathered, and oxidized copper blocks along with a carved pumpkin to spawn those color variants of the copper golem. The same also applies to the copper chest colors, as spawning this mob gives you the chest as well. Another interesting thing you can do when spawning in the copper golem is to create a double chest. That's right, just simply place 2 copper blocks and 2 carved pumpkins next to each other and you'll get 2 copper golems but a double copper chest, as you can see, instead of 2 single ones. Now the purpose of the copper golem and the copper chest is to provide the player with much better inventory management. What I mean by this is the copper golem's purpose is to move different items from the copper chest and sort them into their own individual chests. For example, if I put diamonds, dirt, bread and oak planks in the copper chest, then the copper golem will take the stack of diamonds and put it in one chest, but then take the stack of dirt and put it in another chest. This is actually really useful if you're creating a storage room in your base and want your items to be sorted individually and have them organized into different chests. What's also interesting about the copper golem is if they, for example, want to put diamonds in a chest but it's already got dirt in it, for example, then they will open the chest, see that it has a different item in it, and then walk away from it and find another chest that's either empty or has diamonds in it as well. You can actually help the copper golem though if they get a bit confused, as you can take the dirt out of the chest and then the golem will eventually put the diamonds in said chest as intended. Another thing to note about copper golems and copper chests is that the golem will only take items out of the chest in 16 stack increments. So if you have a 64 stack of diamonds in the copper chest, then the golem will only take 16 diamonds out at a time. Now that we've talked about the mechanics of the copper golem and copper chest, let's talk about these 2 features individually. So the copper golem is a passive mob and only has 6 hearts of health. When killed by the player, it can drop 1 to 3 copper ingots upon death, but you guys wouldn't be heartless enough to end a copper golem, would you? Hey, I had to do it for the purpose of the video, it doesn't count, okay? Just like the copper blocks, the copper golem itself can oxidize over time. Okay, so as you know, the copper golem will start off unoxidized, but after around 7 hours, it will begin the first stage. The first stage is the exposed variant, where the golem becomes discolored and green spots begin to appear. As oxidation continues, it becomes a weathered copper golem, becoming green in color with brown spots. Then the copper golem reaches its last stage, which is the oxidized copper golem where the mob becomes a teal colour with several green spots. Now let's talk about the copper chest in more detail. So as you know, the copper chest is obtained by creating a copper golem, but you can also craft the chest by using 8 copper ingots and 1 chest. Just like the copper blocks and copper golem, the copper chest is also able to oxidize in the same 4 stages I mentioned before. The copper chest has the same storage as a regular chest, having 27 item slots for a single copper chest and 54 item slots for a double copper chest. The next new feature that has been added in the copper update for Java Edition is the addition of these copper statues, which look like this. Now there are 8 different variants of the copper statue. We've got the regular one right here, we've got the exposed copper golem statue, the weathered one, the oxidized one, and then we have the waxed variant. So we've got the waxed copper golem, the waxed exposed copper golem, the waxed weather copper golem statue, and finally the waxed oxidized copper golem statue. I'm sorry, can we just talk about how long some of the item names are? I mean, waxed exposed copper golem statue. That is literally such a mouthful. Now what's really cool about these copper golem statues is that you can interact with them to change their poses. So if you right click on them, you can have up to 4 different poses for the copper golem, and I think these look really cool. I'm a big fan of these. So the 4 different poses is the sitting pose right here, and then you've got its walking animation pose, and then you've got the pose of it taking something out of a chest, I think it is, and then you've got the pose of it just standing still. Now in order to obtain one of these copper golem statues, you need to wait for a regular copper golem mob to turn into an oxidized copper golem, and then eventually after some time this oxidized copper golem will turn into a statue.
2 hours later.
As you can see, after some time this oxidized copper golem has turned into a oxidized copper statue, and you can now interact with it and change all of the poses with it, as you can see. Now if you want to change the oxidization state of the copper golem statue, then all you need to do is go up to this oxidized copper golem statue with an axe and right click on it, and as you can see it's now become a weathered copper golem statue. You can then right click on it again to turn it into an exposed copper golem, and then again to turn it into a regular copper golem, and then you can right click on it a final time to turn it back into a regular copper golem mob. So as you can see, this guy is alive and well again. He's walking around chilling. And yeah, it's actually pretty cool that you can turn them back into regular copper golem. The next new feature that we have been blessed with in the Minecraft copper update for Java Edition is a feature that has nothing to do with copper, but is an exciting one nonetheless, and that is the shelves, which look like this. Now the shelves come in 12 different wood variants, as you can see. We've got the oak shelf, the spruce shelf, the birch shelf, the jungle shelf, the acacia shelf, the dark oak shelf, we've got the mangrove shelf, the cherry shelf, the pale oak shelf, and we've got the bamboo shelf, the crimson shelf, and finally the warped shelf. Why did I say all of that? I'm sure you guys knew this already. It was a lot of stuff to say. I probably didn't need to list off all of the shelves individually, but yeah, you guys get the gist. Now, in order to craft these new shelves in Minecraft, you are going to need the stripped variants of the wood. So if I put in 6 stripped oak logs, you can see I can craft an oak shelf right here. Then if I put in 6 stripped cherry logs, you can see I can craft a cherry shelf, which looks really cool. And finally, if I put in 6 stripped variants of the pale oak logs, you can see that I get a pale oak shelf, which again looks really cool. Now as you can see, the individual shelves have 3 item slots to store items. So if I store some diamonds in this shelf right here, you'll see that it appears in the middle, and then if I put in some diamond ore, it appears on the left, and then if I put in the diamond block, it appears on the right. What's also cool about the shelves is that you can store items up to a 64 stack, so I could put a stack of steaks, a stack of chicken, and a stack of mutton. I wonder if you could store these new copper golem statues. Yep, you can put them in there and they look really funny, so let's just put the others in there. And there you go. I love the way these are displayed. So yeah, you can pretty much put any item you want in these shelves, and I have to say they're going to be really useful for people that want to organise their items as well as display them at the same time. Another copper item I forgot to mention is the copper nugget. Just like iron and gold nuggets, copper ingots are now able to be turned into 9 copper nuggets by simply placing them in the crafting grid. The copper nugget was likely added as players are able to smelt iron and gold equipment in a furnace to give them the respective nuggets, so it makes sense that you should be able to do the same thing with the copper items as well. But there you have it, those are all of the new copper features that have been revealed for the Minecraft Copper update. It's not actually called that, by the way, I just figured since every feature added is copper related, it makes sense to call it the Copper update. Anyways, enjoy the new copper golems and copper chests. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and more Minecraft Copper update videos will be coming real soon, and yeah, goodbye!